Hello again, everyone. Here will be another quick review of what we did this morning about statistical summaries. So just a way to review it if you need some extra help. I know it's hard just looking at or watching in the morning sessions. So taking the data that we used this morning, very similar to the assignment that you'll have, just doing some quick statistical summaries. So remember to get the average. Very simple, just equals average. And then we can select over the range of data. So we want to find the range or the average of the average student loan debt. We might try the median student loan debt. What's the middle value? The function there is equal median. We said too there might be some other values where we want to do percentiles. So this is going to tell us kind of what values are going to put you in different ranges or categories. I like to set it up like this. Remember how we did it kind of in class before, where it's a slight distinction, but it's a little more I don't know, simple to kind of do it like this. We can put the percentiles and then the value. The function is equals percentile. Then we need to put the data. And if we do it like this, it just makes it, again, just a little simpler. We can select the range of data, hit F4 to fix the range. That way we can copy and paste. And then what I'll do is I'll reference this particular value that we've got right there. That's kind of odd the way it placed that. Go ahead and put this here. All right, so then if I reference this particular cell, the percentile will fix that range and then grab that particular value, change it to dollars. So we can say student loan debt in the top 10% or the 90th percentile, 40,000. And that allowed me just to drag and drop that. Now this is our 10th percentile that we have here. All right, so that'll give us some idea of the distribution. That's why we might do those. And then of course we can do like the 5-number summary. If you remember that, we can do the min, the first quartile, the second quartile, which we can check to see that that's the median, and then the third quartile, and then the max value. Now I'm going to do, we can do something fun here, 5-number summary. Here are essentially going to be we could say our quartiles. This is the 0th quartile, the first, second, third, and fourth. This is kind of nice. Again, we can take advantage of the flexibility in the spreadsheet to do this. And then this would be the value of the student loans. All right, so equals quartile is our function that we'll use here. We need to put the range in. Remember too, if you ever have any questions, you just click the question mark, it'll tell us. So we need the data or the range and then which quartile it is. Pretty similar to this one we constructed earlier. All right, so we're gonna Control Shift down arrow, F4 to fix the range to make sure that it's consistent, and then comma. I'm going to reference then the quartile value that we have here. Okay, so that's the minimum value, and it's kind of nice to kind of see that. We can change these to dollars really quick. All right, and then should be able to drag and drop. We can check our median value with our second quartile to make sure that matches, and it does. And then you can kind of take a look and see, like, what you're really looking at here is, like, if these are broken into like 25% of the observations of the data, here this is pretty normal, not a big jump from the first quartile to the second quartile, not a big jump from the second quartile to the third quartile, not a big jump. Everything's pretty close together, but then that fourth quartile, the max between these two, there's a big jump. So that's kind of showing you the distribution, like 25% of your data lie between these two, and 25% lie between these two, and 25% lie between those two. So that's a way you might be able to think about how these variables are distributed. All right, we might want to create a histogram. We want some kind of visual of the distribution. Remember to do that. We're going to select the range of data first. So I'll do my shortcut again, Control Shift down arrow. And then I'm going to go to Insert. We'll insert a chart, and this will be pretty straightforward too as this gets set up. We just want to make sure that we select the right type of chart. It's going to give us their best guess. In this case, it's asking for, or it wants a line chart, but we're going to go ahead and find the histogram. Just scroll down a little bit to some of the more specialized or other charts right here. This is going to be the histogram. It's going to be like a specialized bar chart essentially. All right, and then what's nice about this, as we kind of clean this up a little bit, we might be able to move this over and probably need to shrink it a bit just so we can see. All right, we don't want to cover up the values. Okay, see if I can move this down a little more. There we go. This just kind of confirms what we know, right? As we kind of analyze this data up here, we can see that there's some asymmetry in the distribution that we've got. And so we can see that visually. Okay, so that's how we make the histogram. Then the last little thing that'll be asked is to do like a pivot table. We might want to look at the distribution across the different age groups that we have. That might be an interesting question. Remember, to do the pivot table, it just helps to set it up first. We are including the labels this time. We didn't do that with the chart, but in this case, we want to use the labels. So I'm going to go ahead and just select those two columns of data, including the first row of labels. If we go to data, we'll be able to find our pivot table. All right, new sheet. This pivot table should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Again, it's really nice how it will give us information really quickly. All right, the first rows, I want that broken down by age. That's going to be the variable that we're doing, so it's going to break it into those categories. And now I want to do some values associated with those different groups. So I'm going to add the values. The values will be associated with the loan debt. All right, now we kind of did this one before. We did some, but in this case, I want to change. I want to summarize the values by, like, suppose I want to do average. So average debt between the groups. Again, this is kind of consistent with what we would think. All right, I want to add another value. I want to add another one. It's going to be student loan debt. In this case, I want to summarize it. I want to use the median, if I can find that one. Should be in here someplace. I think I got a weird, just saw it. Scroll, there we go. Okay, median. And so now you can see, compare those values. Like, look at these ranges, they're pretty similar. Looks like the distribution should be pretty symmetric for these age groups, 35 to 44 and 44 to 55 group, but the 25 to 34 group is a little more skewed, we might describe. We might add another one too if we want to do another one. Student loan debt. We might do, in this case, standard deviation to get a measure of the variability that's happening. All right, that should be what's required. You'll do the same thing with different data. It's very, very similar kind of stuff. So hopefully it works pretty easy. Just follow along and you'll be good to go.